Hi, this is a video for the project parts. We have two parts in this first video. So we also provided those two draftings on the web course. You can download them from the homework link. We have a link in the homework. Then you need to submit a concise write-up, and just like you're writing a report, so you don't have to write them again. And you don't have to say anything inside the sketch, even though the first two parts are pretty intensive on the sketch part, but you don't have to describe them in the report. You just say, I finished the sketch, then extrude this much. Okay. All right, so two parts on web course, and we're making the video for that. Okay, so those two parts are in this locking pliers is this one, the link, or even though it's called different names here. Then we have another block inside to lock the pliers. So that's the project, by the way. So we'll turn this off first. Okay, nope. Do I have a new one? So first, let's make this piece the locking block. Then we'll build a new file, and it'll be modeling. And make sure you save to your desktop or anywhere you can have access to. Okay, and make sure you name the name you can remember. All right. Then we start a brand new file. The first thing is the sketch on XY plane, so I don't have to select. Default is on XY plane. All right, so first you would think where I put the origin. Okay, even though we have it here, so it's a circle here, so I would put the origin here, and as you can see, a lot of dimensions are originated from this or the circle, center of the circle. So that'll be a good place for your origin. Okay, then oops, so F8. I think somehow the shortcut is disabled by my recording software. Anyway, circle first, 1/8 in diameter, so 1 divided by 8. It's a little bit too big, then we'll do a fit. Okay, place your dimension at the proper position so later on we can extract them into this drafting, then you don't have to redo all the dimensions. Okay, now next step is we'll pick one arc. We have a lot of arcs on this one, and so I'll start from this vertical arc, and this little corner here seems like a blend or a fillet between this big arc and this one. So we'll start from this one, the radius, and then we have a dimension for the center of the arc. And we don't have to worry about the dimension just now. We can use this 3-point arc, start point, end point, the one in the middle. You don't have to worry where to put it because we will use dimensions. So for the center of the arc, and this is the horizontal distance, which is this one, 20 over 64, 27 over 64. Then the vertical distance, okay, 9 over 64, 9 divided by 64. And the radius is 1930 seconds. Okay. Divided by 32. Okay, so we have one arc. The position is fixed. Just the only thing is the span is not determined. Then it goes up to a flat top, which is a 1/4 inch away from the x-axis. So we'll start a straight line. You can go overshoot like this, or you can snap to the arc itself. and it's horizontal, so make sure you see this horizontal symbol, and then we'll give it dimension 1/4 inch from x-axis. And if you want, you can trim it off. I'll do it later. Then I'll start from the bottom, the big arc here. Radius the same, 19/32. The center of the arc seems like on the y-axis, and also some distance away from the horizontal, the x-axis, which is the biggest one here, 3/4 on the very right side. So again, 3-point arc. Okay, then this point is on y-axis. That sounds like a geometric constraint instead of dimension. So we have the point on curve. Your point is the center of this arc. The curve is the y-axis. Okay, so you click the point for the first item, then for the second one you click y-axis. Then the radius is the same as R3, P3. So I'll just type in 90/32. Okay, then the distance, vertical distance to origin, it's 3/4. Okay, and they do intersect at a certain point. You can drag this arc. Okay, that's one way. The other way is we have this tool called make corner. So they're gonna intersect, they will make a corner. I'll make this one and click this part of the arc. If you click the bottom one, it'll form something like this. Okay, so I'll click on the top, close, and we'll deal with the little fillet here. It's 5/32. So we can type in the radius first and hit enter. This way the fillet is has a dimension already. Then we'll make it. So as you can see, this tangent point is actually not on the y-axis. Okay, so I guess sometimes if you somehow put this on the y-axis, then you gave them dimensions, it'll over-constrain our sketch. Alright, now next is this straight line up to a circle that has the diameter of 1/8. So we can make a circle first, a little circle that has diameter of 1/8. Then the distance from the origin, horizontally and vertically, 21/32. Then this is 5/16. So usually it's a good habit to just click the vertical axis instead of a point, because this is the horizontal distance. So we'll see. I think it's 21/32. From here to x-axis is 5/16. And you notice I'm positioning those dimensions about the same fashion as the drafting. So later on you can extract those dimensions into a draft. Alright, now next is the so we missed this 1/4 inch at the end of this arc. That's why this one seems a lot lower than this draft. So from the y-axis to this end point of the arc is a 1/2 inch. This will constrain where this arc ends, and we have a straight line coming up to, I think my computer is freezing. Wow. Alright. Okay, this line comes up to the circle, it's not tangent, it's not going through the center of the circle, so be careful where to snap your line. Then we'll add a reference line here. Okay, that's why we have to turn this arc center snapping tool on. Well, I think by default it was on anyway. So right click and then turn to reference, because this one is just a reference. Then give it a dimension between those two lines, 158. Okay, of course you can click this and click the x-axis, but that's a huge angle here. Okay, and the next is the big arc on the back, and this place seems like tangent. So usually in those drawings, if it doesn't say tangent and it looks smooth, that's tangent. Okay, same goes for those fillets, and also those three arcs here. All right, so don't have to worry about the dimensions. We'll start from the circle here, then end at this line. Okay, if you can tell, it ends on the top. So it will end right on this line, and we can make sure this bottom is tangent to the little circle, so we don't need to add another constraints later on. Then we can adjust the center of this arc to here, this place, which is a 1/4 inch from x-axis and a weird number from y-axis. So 43 divided by 64, hit enter, and then from here to x-axis, place it neatly, 0.25. Okay, then seems like this is already constrained. You don't really need the radius. The reason is from here, center of the little circle, that's 1/8 defined. This is 5/16 defined, then a 1/4 inch defined. So the radius is also defined. You can calculate from that. If you do try to add a dimension, it'll over constrain the sketch. So what you do, you can turn this to reference. So you know what the radius is, just leave it there. Okay, and now we go to the top. So we can trim this off. We have a opening here in the middle, and it should be centered. So I'll use profile tool, get an opening first, and you see it's hard to snap to vertical distance, the vertical. I'll just leave it like this, and left click, give it the vertical constraint, and you notice it's not symmetric. This opening is not symmetric with respect to y-axis, and it seems like this one is in the drafting. Now what we do is we gave it a midpoint constraint for the bottom line. That's why I have a bottom line here. Select a line, then constrain to the sketch origin. This way, no matter how you move it, it will be always centered. Then we do have an arc bottom. So start point, end point. And that. So this line will be a reference line, and the top will just trim this off, and it'll keep the collinear constraint for those two shoulders. And we'll add the radius. That's a 1/4 inch, and also the width of this opening here is 7/32. Okay, and you notice the bottom's arc is still not fully constrained. It has a different color. So if you see, take a look at the center of the arc, it can move up and down. That means we're missing one dimension. And if you look at here, 3/8 is actually from the center of this arc to the origin. So we'll give it dimension from that point to the origin, which is also x-axis here, 3/8. Okay, and now it's all green. Everything's green, so the fully constrained access needs one constraint, which is actually this construction line here. So it's a reference line, so it doesn't matter. Now we're going to make the teeth. Okay, so the teeth they sit on two smaller circles. We can do arc, center, and endpoint. Okay, so the center is this point. It starts from, we can do a quarter of the circle. That's the first one. Then we'll do the second one. It really doesn't matter that those are the reference lines. So I'll turn them to reference. And if you move your cursor inside the circle, it'll snap to the center point. You will not be able to pick the arc. So I'll move my cursor a little bit outside the circle. And when you see the arrow, that means you're picking up the arc, not the point. Turn to reference. So that's a point. This is the arc reference. And also need to give them radius, a smaller one, 17 divided by 32. And the other one is 9/16. Okay, so the teeth, they start from the bottom. The top, you really don't know where. The bottom, it connects to that endpoint of this point here. And also this line looks like going through the center of the arc, because those are the teeth. You want those lines radiate like spoke, and they go through the center of the arc. So we'll use a straight line, and hopefully it will go through, but if not, we can use constraint later. So something like this. And we need one more for the patterning, for the curve pattern. Okay, so reason being, this first line this is the only line that's longer than the teeth on this side, so we can't pattern this. We need to pattern those two. Okay, now before we pattern it, we need to make sure those two lines, they go through the center of this arc. So we'll go use point on curve. Okay, so those two curves, they go through, so constraint to the center of this arc. And you have this indication here, and also this is 3.7 degrees, 3.7. Okay, and you can tell the color is green. It's all constrained. And next, we'll just use patterning. So pattern curve command. All right, if it's not there, it might be because your interface, this row is not on advanced with full menu. So we're coming back to the part navigator, pattern curve. Now we need to select curve, right? So the default is connected curve. If you use that, if you click, it'll pick 3 arc curves, which we don't need. So we have to shift and click to deselect them. We just need 2 single curves. This one, that one. Alright, then this pattern is circular. You need to define the center of the circle. So I'll be here. And the spacing, we use counter and the pitch. We have 8 count, and the pitch is 3.7 degrees. Okay, and I'll just say okay. And actually, if you count here, we pattern this upwards corner, 8 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The last one is different. So the last one, actually, we don't have this vertical line. I turn this to reference because it's from the pattern. Just keep it there. And this line goes all the way to this arc. So what can we do? We have a quick extend command. Okay? Now if you click on this half of the line, it'll intersect with the arc. So take a look, and the only thing missing is those 4 0.02 radius fillets. We can use edge blend to do that. We don't have to do this in the sketch. Alright, so we can extrude this. You might say, alright, those are multiple loops. No, it's not one single loop. We can use a filter called region boundary curve, or aka area. So we use this to pick area you want to extrude. So if you move cursor here, it'll pick this area. Okay. We'll also extrude this little circle plus teeth. Then the distance is a 1/4 inch in total. I'll do a symmetric because it's sort of symmetric. Yeah, even though those two are different. And also this way you have this datum in the middle. Okay, that indicates this part is generally symmetric. Alright, so symmetrical value, the total is 1/4, a half would be 1/8. This is different from SolidWorks. SolidWorks, you have to use the total distance for symmetric extrude. But NX, you just do a half. Okay, if you go back to value, it'll actually show minus and a positive half distance. I will do apply so we can keep this window open and do the next extrude. Next one is the cylinder in the middle, and we have this. It goes over the top 1/16 and the bottom is 1/32. Then the top would be 1/8 plus 1/16. So the bottom is minus 1/8 and minus 1 divided by 32. Okay, and the boolean is inferred, and it knows you have another piece. It'll merge those two solid together. Okay, and once you say OK, well, this part is done, except the edge blend on top or the fillets. So we use edge blend, radius 0.02. If it's different number, you have to type and hit enter. Otherwise, that'll be the previous value. So pick 4 edges and say OK. Now that's the first part for this project. Alright, now we'll have a little pause, then go to the next part. Okay, the next part, let me open that first. Okay, the next part is this part. It might take a while, so we'll separate the video to the second one.